Good day to all of you. Welcome to the program agenda on this 13th of May, 2022, Friday the 13th. So for those of you who are superstitious, it's not going to be a fun day. Probably you will be staying at home. But for the rest of us who believe that we are protected by the Lord, we rebuke any of that superstition. And thank God it's Friday, because now I hope all of us, regardless of our political color, regardless of all the stuff that went through during the elections, kahit papano naman, sana po, ipahinga nyo na yung politika, and this weekend, let's concentrate on our family, on our home, our houses, and on ourselves, okay? Because yung iba sa inyo, medyo napagod din sa eleksyon, and you deserve a rest, win or lose. Okay, now for today, we will be speaking with two gentlemen. One is the representative, co-convenor of the Alliance of, I need to read this correctly, Alliance of Call Center Workers, co-convenor Emman David. Emman and I will be talking about the state of call center workers, ano ba nangyayari, their benefits and their concerns. Kasi may mga kumalat pong chismis. There were rumors that if BBM won, there would be companies that would pull out. Let's verify if that was actually true or sabi-sabi lang. Now, after our interview with Emman, we will shift to a foundation that is pushing for the promotion of culinary heritage. Malayo na po sila, mahaba na ang kanilang tinahak sa larangan ng pagluluto, ng pagkain sa Pilipinas. And we will speak about the possibility of Filipino foods becoming our cultural export in the same way that K-pop and the likes is the cultural export of Korea. Meron bang mapapala doon? Anyway, please join us today. Let's have a nice conversation with our guest. But before that, let's go to today's daily starter. Okay, and it is from the second book of Peter, second epistle of Peter, chapter 2, verse 2. Ibang klase, no? 2:22. Okay, it has happened to them according to the true proverb, a dog returns to its own vomit, and a sow after washing returns to wallowing in the mire. Okay. Wag na po nating balikan ang nakaraan. You know, that is essentially the thought here, because sinasabi nga nila, kung babalik-balikan mo rin yung pangit, kung babalik-balikan mo yung hindi maganda, or after being cleansed, after being washed, you start acting like a pig again, whether you're talking spiritually, we're talking emotionally, mentally. We need to move forward, as they say. And move forward, I'm not talking politics, no? In terms of our character. Kasi magmamagaling ka, sasabihin mong nagbagong buhay na ako, it's a new this, new that, and then you start behaving like the old self. Well, that is what Peter is talking about, or Saint Peter was talking about, na sinuka mo na, babalikan mo pa. It could be relationships, it could be an abusive relationship, it could be a bad investment. Okay? And or like a katulad ng baboy, matapos mong paliguan, maglulublob na naman sa putikan. Okay? So it's a very timely reminder for all of us Filipinos, not just in politics, but in character, in our lifestyle, etc., that if we want change, the change has to be in us. And it should not be that because it's inconvenient or because you're being impatient, babalik ka na rin sa ugali mong nakaraan. Okay, masama mong ugali, maglalagay ka, mansusuhol ka, or magagalit ka. Let us not be like that. So that's today's word, Daily Starter. And now let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star. The headlines for today, May 13, 2022, economy grows 8.3% in the first quarter of 2022. Baka sabihin nyo, ha? Paano nangyari yun? Di ba sabi nila hanggang 6 lang, etc., etc. Well, it would seem that our last quarter in December in 2021, and then all of the travel, the revenge travel, all of the revenge buying, lahat yan, and return to work of many companies, and just many companies gaining their confidence because hindi nagsipaan yung mga COVID-19 cases towards the end of the first quarter. All of that contributed to the growth of the economy. Now, at the top of the front page, the header, Senator Cynthia Villar, Romualdez, Congressman Martin Romualdez as next Congress leader, question mark. Yun po ang mga umuugong. It is now slowly becoming a reality that Senator Cynthia Villar may soon become the next Senate President kasi as the Filipinos would say it, nagkagapangan na. Word is Cynthia Villar has 13 votes to her name, while Martin Romualdez is the presumptive Speaker of the House because of his involvement in the election and the victory of Bongbong Marcos. Meanwhile, Sara explains why she decided against DND post. Many of us thought that Sara Duterte, because of her affinity, inclination, or take her second love position, Secretary of Education, so that all of the potential intrigues, divisiveness, etc. At baka magka-rumors pa na nagbabalak siyang ikudeta si BBM would be put to sleep or would be buried. So yun po, in-explain lang niya. Meanwhile, that big photo in the middle of the front page, you have a photo of Joseph Biden and of BBM meeting with the Chinese ambassador. Okay, Joseph Biden, President of the United States, reportedly called to congratulate BBM, and while the current Chinese ambassador Wang Xilian gave or presented a congratulatory note from Chinese President Xi Jinping yesterday, greeting BBM as the presumptive 17th president. Okay, President Duterte in a taped message, recorded message, announced or expressed that he wants to kill 5 more drug lords while president. Kasi yan naman po talaga yung the missing exclamation point in his campaign. While thousands of Filipinos have allegedly, reportedly been killed because of extrajudicial killing related to the anti-drug war, there remains to be the missing big fish na hindi pa nakuhuli. They have not caught a real big-time drug lord. Okay, so the president still wants to kill. Sabi niya, I'll be happy if we can kill 3 or 5. And the president said he will take full responsibility if such an event occurred. That lower photo that you see there is a photo of election officers turning over certificates of canvass from Masbate, La Union, Ilocos Norte to the COMELEC and Bank. Okay. Meanwhile, the Cultural Center of the Philippines is mourning the passing of their former President Baltasar Endriga. Although not much has been said about Baltasar Endriga, it turns out that Bal Endriga is the one person who really fought and brought people to court so that the CCP could retain or protect all of its real estate or its property from poachers, from fake claims, etc. And he contributed much to the programs of the cultural center. Our condolences to Mr. Endriga's family. Duterte creates transition committees that we already announced a week ago. And finally, speaking again of the president has once again emphasized his call for the scrapping of the party list system. Rodi urges new administration, burahin na yung party list dahil ginagamit daw ng mga komunista. Pero hindi nabanggit ni Presidente, ginagamit din ng mga politiko, yung mga pamilyang politiko, nag-congressman na, nag-mayor na, nag-governor na, nagpa-party list pa. Talagang hindi pa nabusog. Ano? Okay, and last but not the least, Lenny Thanksgiving, yung pong tipong-tipong pasasalamat ng mga Lenny supporters that was supposed to be at the Quezon Memorial Circle has been relocated to inside the Ateneo campus because suddenly the Quezon City administration felt it would not be conducive to traffic and to safety, etc. Pero pinayagan noon ng eleksyon, nung kampanya pwede. Pero ngayon may bago na silang bossing, hindi na pwede. Okay, I will not comment. I just sorry. I just had to put that in. Anyway, those are the news from the front page today. Let's now go to our guest. Kamustahin natin? What is the state of our call center people or people working in call centers? Sila ba happy or sila ba ay worried? Let's speak to the Co-convenor Alliance of Call Center Workers, none other than Emman David. Emman, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning po, Sir Cito. Thank you po for the opportunity.
Okay, Emman, bibihirang nai-interview yung mga taong katulad nyo or groups that or the people that you represent. And for the longest time, we have always assumed, okay na, the people in the call center are okay. They are getting their 15,000 a month salary or sana ngayon 20,000 na. And they are happily drinking their beer in the morning after they have an all-nighter, etc. Pero could you give us a picture of the life of call center people in reality?
Well, all that you mentioned are true, Sir Cito, but that doesn't mean that we are necessarily okay because working in a call center is a very stressful job. As you mentioned, we work during the night and we sleep during the day, which is of course not the normal sleeping habits of human beings. So in addition to that, we deal with very stressful situations. We deal with irate customers. We have to explain to them their different concerns and issues with regard to the accounts, the products that we handle. We have to, and in order to do that, we have to learn. We have to learn these products. You see, product training is actually what, 2 to 3 weeks, and then after 2 to 3 weeks, you're expected to explain all these things to customers. So yes, while I would agree with all that you mentioned, hindi naman kami yung tipong pasarap lang, meron din kaming mga challenges.
I know about your life because my sister for more than 4 years ay nag-call center Ano ba tawag sa inyo? Call center agent pa ba ang tawag sa inyo? Kasi alam mo, nung nag-umpisa yung call center industry na yan, you guys were referred to as call. What is the correct term for people working in the call center or in a booth?
Well, the general term is customer service representative. If we do specialized tasks like technical support, then technical support representative. Then if we do collections, then we're collections representatives. But in general, yung CSR or customer service representative, yun ang kadalasan na tawag sa akin.
Okay. Now, what is the lifespan or shelf life of a customer representative or technical service representative in Philippine call centers? Gaano katagal? Kinakareer ba ninyo yan or transition lang yan?
Well, actually, noong panahon na nagsimulang mag-boomang BPO, this was mid-2000s. This was when I started in the industry. Ang karamihan sa amin sinasabi, transition lang to na while we look for another job with presumably related to our courses, to what we finished in college for those who have finished. But the thing is, through time, BPOs have already been a permanent thing for us. Yung mga sinasabi na, 6 months lang ako, 1 year lang ako, hindi na napapansin. Nasa 3 years na, 5 years na sa industriya. So it's something that is really, shall I say, here to stay in the country.
Well, no, the industry, I hope, is here to stay because it provides jobs to many Filipinos. But mahirap naman yata because I'm a parent. And I don't know if you're a parent, but ang laking sakripisyo. It's a great sacrifice for parents to send children to college, to university, etc. And then they land in jobs in call centers. And I'm not diminishing the value of your jobs, okay? But one would imagine that you went to college, you want to have a career, that this is just supposed to be a transition. Kung magiging for life, parang sayang naman. Dapat ba magkaroon na lang tayo ng parang 2-year or 1-year program para sa call center? Yung bang college degree mandatory dyan sa mga call center?
Actually, no. As a matter of fact, I am a college undergrad. I have co-workers who are just high school graduates who have finished 1 year, 2 years in college. So, no, a college degree is not a requirement. That being said, the fact that college graduates flock to the industry is a function of the economy, because the economy doesn't provide jobs for college graduates in their respective fields. Or if they do provide jobs for these fellows, then the pay is not enough. The pay is more lucrative in the BPO industry. So, for example, teachers. We have a lot of teachers in the BPO industry. Yung iba nga, word passer pa. Yung iba, nakapag-practice na ng profession nila. But they choose to work in the BPO industry because our economy is simply not friendly to teachers. They do not get the pay that they get in the BPO industry for a job that I would argue is more vital to our economy, because they are the ones who are supposed to be training our future professionals. But the thing is, they work in the BPO industry instead because they are not compensated properly.
Okay, in terms of salaries, compensation, how much are we talking about, Emman? Kasi parang last I checked in, 15,000 kayo eh. Baka sabi ko ngayon, baka by virtue of from 2005, by virtue of inflation, baka nag-20,000 na ngayon. Ano ba ang average industry salary ngayon ng call center?
Actually, 15 to 20,000 is a fair estimate until now for entry level. Now, for more experienced agents, more experienced representatives, we can get as much as what 25, 30. But I would agree that inflation has actually, I don't know, diminished the purchasing power of our salaries because kumbaga hindi yung sinasabi niyo na na humabol na yung sahod sa inflation, that really did not happen because as I recall, mid-2000s, 15,000 yung mga katrabaho ko na pamilyado nakakabuhay na ng pamilya. Meron pang sabi niyo nga pang inom pa and all. But now 15,000 cannot make both ends meet anymore. But sadly, there are still companies who pay that amount for starters.
Emman, what about the kill rate? Pasensya ka na, boss, ha? Alam mo naman, pareho tayo kasi yung mga terms natin, no? yung ayoko naman sabihin mortality rate, ano? O attrition na lang, attrition rate, yung mga nalalaglag, natatanggal because I remember when all of this was picking up, the biggest concern was and many call centers were popping up pre-COVID, popping up, but not enough Filipinos who could speak proper English or could handle the job professionally. Right now ba, dumadami pa rin? Is it a growing population of call center agents or has it started to go down? And then what is the effect of artificial intelligence?
Well, I can say that the supply is still there. And as long as the demand is still there will always be a supply of fresh graduates or even undergraduates who cannot continue their studies, who go to the BPO industry. The thing is training. Now, you mentioned earlier that would it be helpful if we could have a 1 to 2 year short course for BPO workers? My personal opinion on that is no, because for me the function of training is with the company. Because if the company is hiring you, then they should provide you with the skills that you need to do your job. As I recall, early 2000s, training in the BPO industry is very rigid. We're really trained to speak like, "Oh, Mr. Sita, thank you for your concern. Thank you for calling us. How may I help you today?" Yeah, we're really trained like that early mid-2000s. And if our colleagues cannot speak like that, if they cannot make themselves be understood to our customers, then they cannot continue. But the thing is right now, the goal sadly is quantity over quality. So as long as there are people who are willing to take the jobs, then the jobs will be there.
But might I ask, Mr. David, are you still getting inquiries regarding call centers coming into the Philippines? Ganun ba, pare ko?
Yes, Mr. Beltran, more or less. We're on the same page here. Yeah.
Well, hindi. Marami pa ba nagtatayo ng call center? Kasi ang sabi nila, the fear, I think 2019, the fear was that artificial intelligence, munti ko na sabing artificial insemination, artificial intelligence is going to displace all of these jobs for Filipinos.
Well, to some extent, that might be true, but I would assert that people still want to talk to a live person. Now, if I may share a personal experience, way back in 2008, mga ganon, andyan na yan andyan na yung AI. In fact, I handled an account where we don't have to talk. We just have to click and the automated system would be the one talking to the customer. So we're just clicking based on the responses of the customer, and then someone else will speak for us. And the only time we will speak is when the system does not has no response to whatever the customer is asking. So, that's been there for a while. But the thing is, it never really prospered because the Americans, I want to talk to a live agent. I want to talk to a person. Are you a person? Are you not a machine? Ganun sila eh. Parang, I guess sa atin din, hinahanap natin yung human connection eh. So, ayun, although may AI, and of course, we have to be competitive and consider that, we also have to consider that people also want to talk to people.
Okay, now let's talk about the people at the call centers because okay, you said that the average salaries for entry level is still at 15 to 20,000. It can go up to 25 for long time operators. But in terms of benefits, because there is that job related how do you call it hazards, okay, that have not been talked about. Is there an increased alcoholism in among call center workers? What about violence, etc.? Kasi yun yung mga nire-raise in the past. What are the problems currently?
Well, in terms of alcoholism, well, we drink. As you mentioned earlier, umiinom kami ng umaga, tanghaling tapat, lasing kami. But in terms of alcoholism, it really has not been that much concern. I mean, maybe some people come in drunk and they are terminated because that's not something that is tolerated in the industry. Kumbaga, kung ano lang kung iinom ka, yung kaya mo lang. So if you're really an alcoholic, then you really cannot function in the industry. I have had coworkers who had to leave because of that. So more of isolated cases than really large-scale problems. Now, with regard to violence, well, that is actually why we are pushing for permanent work from home for those who want it. Because if, as you may have heard, we are during the pandemic, we have largely shifted to work from home, but we are now being asked to return to our offices. And when we return to our offices, babalik na naman kami din sa sistema na babiyahe kami ng 10 oras ng gabi. Delikado. Wala nang masakyan, especially for the women. Mas malala yan para sa kababaihan na
But is the work from home model working?
Yes, actually it is. And the reason I can confidently say that is because our employers want to continue the work from home setup. It's just that they are being kumbaga ginigipit lang sila ng FIRB with regard to their tax incentives. Actually, we in ACW have already had a dialogue with PEZA, Deputy Director Tereso Panga and even Director Charito Plaza, and they are actually pro work from home as well. But the thing is, their hands are tied with the existing rules and regulations.
Would you keep this position even when COVID? Sabihin na lang natin, impossible naman to, Emman, but assuming na wala na yung COVID or it has ceased to be a real threat to all workers, would the call center alliance still push for work from home?
Ang pinupush po talaga namin ay yung tinatawag namin na hybrid setup, which means that for those who want to work in the office, because they may have their reasons na hindi maayos yung internet sa lugar nila or sa bahay, hindi sila makapag-setup ng maayos, or they just want to go to the physical office, then by all means, then they can do so. But for those who want to continue working from home, why not, diba? It works Our productivity has not significantly changed. In fact, some even say that it became higher. Some say the tax collection from the BPO industry has risen from 8 to 12%. So kung ganun, kung gumagana naman, bakit tayo babalik din sa dating setup na ayun?
You were talking about tax incentives, etc., na pe-pressure yung mga call center companies. During the election or just before election day, there were new reports, at least social media platform. Alam mo naman, kalahati dyan, more than kalahati dyan, peke. But may mga lumabas. There were rumors that some call centers were saying, well, if the Marcoses come back to power, we're out of the country, or there are companies reconsidering. What is the situation regarding new administration fears?
Well, I can confirm that there are such rumors of BPOs pulling out once Marcos comes in. But right now, those remain rumors. We have not heard something that has been really confirmed that so-and-so client or so-and-so company is pulling out of the country because of Marcos. Because one thing, we have heard this before. We have heard this when Duterte came to office, and for that matter, when Obama, Trump, and Biden came to office. But the thing is, business is business eh. Na these when every time a new American president comes into power, what they say is, oh, we want to bring our jobs back to our country. Oh, we do not want to work with someone who is not friendly with us. But Joe Biden has already congratulated Bongbong Marcos. So ano 'yon? Kumbaga ang sa amin, we would want to call on our colleagues in the industry to stay calm, ask their immediate supervisor, their account leadership, the HR, kung totoo ba yung mga ganyang chismis, kung may nababalitaan sila na ganyan. Kasi those chismis proliferate in the industry. And itanong nila, get it straight from the horse's mouth. Kung hindi totoo, edi hindi totoo. Na sana maging honest din yung company leadership. And to those who spread these if I may say unsubstantiated rumors, with all due respect to them, sana naman tigilan nyo na yan dahil hindi kayo nakakatulong eh. Ang laki na nga ng anxiety ng mga BPO workers sa return to office, sa COVID, sa yung lahat ng nabanggit ko kanina na stressors namin sa work. Dadagdag pa yung mga ganyang unsubstantiated rumors of BPO supposedly pulling out. So ang sa akin, kung hindi naman yan something that is confirmed by account leadership, wag na lang sana nilang ikalat kasi hindi sila nakakatulong.
Okay, Emman, my last question to you, since we now have a presumptive new president, a new administration coming in, what would be the appeal, the concern of the alliance of call center workers to the new government? Ano ba yung talagang sana madinig at gusto ninyong iparinig sa bagong pamumuno?
Dalawang bagay lang sa ngayon. Unang-una, yung pagbawi nitong return to office order, yung nabanggit ko nga sa inyo kanina na hybrid setup na kung sino yung gustong mag-work from home, sana payagan nila na makapag-work from home pa rin. Kasi we are contributing to the economy still even if we are at home. We are purchasing from micro, small, and medium enterprises, yung mga palengke, mga tindahan, mga karenderya. We're still contributing to the economy even if we're working from home. At yung pangalawa, yung codification ng mga karapatan ng mga BPO workers. Kasi sa BPO industry, we have certain unique situations that necessitate certain unique rights that we might need to have codified. In the last Congress, there was a bill filed, the Magna Carta of BPO workers. So maybe Congress can look into that this time. And
so it wasn't passed, this Magna Carta for BPO workers?
No, unfortunately, it was not passed. But hopefully, in the next Congress, we can work with them. We can lobby. We can talk to lawmakers, and hopefully, this is something that can be codified.
How big is the population of BPO workers or agents? Because you would have to be a lot of people to have a Magna Carta, especially for you.
Yeah, BPO workers are what, 1.3, 1.4 million? Kumbaga halos kasing laki namin ng civil service eh. Civil
Mm.
service has their own rules. Kumbaga ang sa amin, I understand the concern of the larger workforce ng mga manggagawa na bakit kayo may sarili kayong
Mm.
patakaran. And of course, we actually talking with other labor groups kung paano ma-consolidate yung mga ganyang hiling. Pero
Okay.
ang sa akin, we have certain unique circumstances in the industry that maybe need some codification with regard
Okay,
to
well,
rights.
keep in touch, Emman, and we will help you promote that requirement. In the meantime, I will have to close our interview now, but very educational, very informative, and we hope that in the future we get to hear from you again, so we can look after the 1.3 million workers in the BPO industry. Thank you very much, Emman David.
Thank you po, Sir Cito. Thank you.
Okay, yan po si Emman David, Co-convenor, Alliance of Call Center Workers. Ayan ha, kita naman ninyo kahit kamukha kong parang nung danong bata ako na mukhang jologs. Okay, talagang may laman naman yung utak ng bata. No? May, very intelligent, and we will continue promoting. Now, we'll go for a very quick break. When we return, ang balikan po natin yung Mamasita. Mamasita Foundation. Now, before you start singing the song, some of you will start singing the song. You pay attention to the lesson today. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran. And for this part of the program, let's bring in our next guest. He's the Corporate Communications Officer of a company that every Filipino knows. And if you don't, I wonder which part of Alaska you are living in. Because even in Alaska, I'm sure I know there are Filipinos and they probably use the product of Mamasita. Okay, yung iba't ibang klaseng produkto, yung Mamasita, yung calamansi, soy sauce, etc. Pinaghalo-halo na lahat yan. Let's bring in Mr. Alvin Lim. Alvin, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Cito. Good morning to all your listeners and viewers.
Okay, well, Alvin, my wife was the one who actually pushed for you to be a guest today because she saw that you were promoting culinary heritage. Now, maraming tao medyo ang thinking nila, nagtuturo lang sila ng cooking class, nagbibigay lang kayo ng cooking classes or something. What exactly everyone knows your products, okay?
Yeah.
There, just looking behind you, I'm amazed. Hindi ko akalain ganun kadami ang product ng Mamasita. But the foundation for culinary heritage, what is that all about, Alvin?
Actually, I'm with the Mamasita Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So parang it's the foundation arm of the company.
Mm-hmm.
And siguro that's closely linked to how the company started. Yung culinary heritage. Kasi the reason why there's even a Mamasita, the products that we have was because of the desire of Mamasita or my lola, si Lola Sita, to provide a means for Filipinos abroad.
Lola mo si Teresita Reyes?
Yes.
Lola, hindi ka ba apo sa tuhod? Kasi
Hindi.
Okay. Kasi alam mo, when they say Mamasita or Lola, they think of a Lola who was already a Lola in the 40s or who was born in 1904 or something. So, hindi pala siya ganun katanda.
Well, ano ba? Matanda rin kasi 1920s.
Okay. But Teresita Reyes, does she come from the same Reyes family as the aristocrats, etc.?
Yes, oo. She's actually second generation. So yung mommy niya was the founder of the Aristocrat restaurant. So she's second generation and the eldest female, eldest daughter among 11 children. Yeah.
So, malaking history. Dapat pala, isang oras binigay ko sa iyo. Pero, okay, we can go into that later because I've met some of the Reyes elders. Sila Tos Reyes, yung mga mahilig sa horse racing, and yung pamilya na who was involved with aristocrat, etc. But okay, going back to the foundation, Alvin.
Yes.
Okay, culinary heritage. What exactly are your activities at the Mamasita Foundation?
All right. So right now, yung mga ongoing, we have the mga kwentong pagkain program, which is, it's actually a contest. Kasi si Mamasita mahilig magsulat ng, kumbaga, when she discovers a new way of preparing food, or if she encounters a particular recipe that she likes, sinusulat niya yan. Kaya nga we have a diary of Mamasita's notes on food. Okay, and parang to continue that tradition. Well, that's the reason why we have a lot of recipes there. Even yung mga recipes that are printed in our sauces and mixes, okay, those are derived from Mamasita's notes. Kasi essentially yung mga produkto namin parang nakatimpla siya according to Mamasita's taste.
Okay.
So yung mga kwentong pagkain we're encouraging people to do the same. To share their own food stories. Kasi lahat naman ng pamilya merong heritage, no?
Oh, parang
luto
yung
de lola.
bulalo. Oh, parang yung bulalo na traditional Batangas bulalo,
Yes.
ginawa ko, nilagyan ko ng sili.
Ayun.
And my friend said, you're crazy. Pero nung natikman nila, chili bulalo, they said, wow, this is something new.
Okay, di ba? So we can play around with the food that we have, no? New ways of enjoying it, di ba? Kasi ganyan naman talaga ang recipes, they evolve, no? Kasi yung taste din natin evolves, right? So, pero what we want to promote is that mostly yung focusing on Filipino food, di ba? Even bulalo with chili would still be Filipino, di ba?
Yeah.
It's just a new way of enjoying it.
Kumbaga, nag-asawa lang yung Baranggenyo at yung Bicolana.
Ayan.
Lumabas bulalong may sili. Okay. Anyway, aside from, of course, the culinary narration, kumbaga, the narrative of cooking and style, I understand that your foundation is also into the promotion, propagation ng mga iba-ibang mga prutas, halaman, or if I will read this from the guide of the group, you guys are supporting the development of banana, calamansi, kamote, makopa, among others.
Yes. Kasi those are, kumbaga, di ba, well, we're, kumbaga, from mga ano ba tawag sa atin, Gen Z, hindi tayo millennial, no? Pero so at least tayo
tayo? Millennials.
Ayan. Okay. So somehow, di ba, we were still able to enjoy yung makopa. Kayumito, di ba? Chico.
Duhat.
Duhat, okay? So these are parang yung effort ng Mamasita when it comes to that is to keep those plants thriving, di ba? So that the next generations can still enjoy them, no?
Which is very interesting and very correct, because I have a small place in Lipa, Batangas, and one of the founding groups that developed the area, tinaniman ng mangga, completely overlooking the fact that mango trees bloom fruit in lower altitudes, hotter climes, and Lipa is cold. So, bomba sila ng fertilizer. Sabi ko, putulin nyo na lang yan, magtanim na lang kayo ng duhat.
Yun na nga di ba? Pero siguro yun ang negosyo nila, kaya that's
but it's a losing process. So, when you do this, when you promote this this traditional plants and trees, how does Mamasita operate? How do you do it?
Well, we go to the farmers and support them, with what they need. We lobby also for them. Parang we're closely we have a lot of efforts working with the Department of Agriculture regarding this, no? Parang mostly, syempre, hindi naman kami yung nandun sa office. So it's about giving our opinion, I suppose.
Okay.
As far as what they should be, or what we should be focusing on, diba?
Well, because you are the end user, producer of these products that need this material. So,
yes.
Kumbaga, alignment lang.
Alignment lang. And dito, like what you said, diba? There are altitudes and conditions that are good for a particular kind of plant, and or produce. So yun din naman yung yung gusto namin, kasi if you follow what nature tells us, diba? Yung product that you can get out of it is better than yun nga kung artificial na parang susubukan mo i-create artificially yung environment, diba?
That's very correct, Alvin, because like yung calamansi, for instance, I have been growing calamansi in in this 15-gallon jars. I've been growing calamansi in the farm. So talagang, tapos akala ko, tama na yan, ang dami-dami na natin calamansi, hindi nagagamit. Biglang, now in my later years that I want more calamansi juice, processed soda or soft drinks. Biglang, ay nako, nagkamali ako. Dapat pala 1 hektarya ng kalamansi ang tinanim ko. You consume it so much. So I can imagine the volume that Mamasita consume. Wait a minute, are you guys exporting Mamasita products?
Yes. Oh, actually, that's. I suppose that would be the bigger chunk of the sales, di ba, of Mamasitas. Kasi yun nga, that's how it started. Eh. We started because we wanted we wanted Filipinos abroad to be able to prepare Filipino food. Kasi during that time, that was in the 1980s, parang the Filipino ingredients wasn't that available overseas. And that was also the time when a lot of Filipinos parang may migration to different countries out there. And especially now na yung mga OFWs natin, di ba, all over the world. No? So in a way, yung growth ng company is kumbaga parallel to that growth in Filipinos overseas. So it's their way of connecting them.
But is your export targeted to where the Filipino populations are? Kasi
yes.
Yun na nga ang complaint ko sa inyo. Kasi yung anak ko sa Netherlands, walang mabiling produkto ninyo.
Meron yan. Kailangan lang maghahanap. Oo. But she should go to the website of Mamasita and shout out, diba? Ask about where they can get it from the Netherlands.
Yeah, so Filipinos abroad, pupunta lang sa website. And then, because we have viewers who watch Agenda on Facebook and on YouTube. So they go to the Mamasita website and you can point them to where the nearest market is. But what if there's no near market? Napapadalan ba ninyo? Like let's say if you are in Europe, meron bang system to send it over?
Well, you can find us in, I guess dun nga, sa website pa rin. Though, yun lang. Yung when it comes to shipping, hindi syempre i-arrange nung nung bahay.
Okay, now we don't have much time, a few minutes, 2 minutes to be exact.
Okay.
What message, I'm going to bring you back, guy. This is the first time we've met. I haven't really done much, know much about you, but what is the most important message you can give our viewers?
All right. So, yung Mamasita nga wants to promote Filipino food. And I guess the best message or the number one message that you want to share with your viewers is that being Filipinos, it's good for us to, well, number one, patronize our own cooking, di ba? And promote it. And it's being promoted actually. Medyo tumataas yung awareness about Filipino food. Even sa US, there's this one Filipino restaurant, I think Kasama, yung pangalan niya, which won a Michelin star. So may 1 Michelin star Filipino restaurant na. Okay, and it doesn't have to be restaurants. We ourselves in our households, when we entertain guests, diba, we're known for our Filipino hospitality. So all the OFWs out there, and even the Pinoys here, when we have guests in our houses, let's prepare Filipino food for them. Okay? Para it doesn't die down. It gives our cuisine importance, and we share it with foreigners, with visitors here, or in our homes. And that's where Mamasitas can help. Okay? Para yun na nga, to make your life easier in preparing Filipino food, that's the essence actually of why we prepare those food.
At saka wag lang puro adobo at saka sinigang. Although adobo is now an internationally recognized, celebrity endorsed food from the Philippines. Pero wag lang puro adobo at saka sinigang. Marami pa rin tayo.
Marami pa tayo ibang mga pagkain. Diba?
Okay. Anyway, Alvin, thank you very much for your time this morning. We will certainly bring you back, and we enjoyed this conversation. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for inviting us, Cito.
Okay. Yan po, Alvin Lim, spokesperson or of Communications Officer for Mamasita Foundation. And please, I've seen some, hindi ko lang matandaan yung pangalan ng ilan, but I have seen some celebrities in the US, talk show hosts, talk about adobo. Now, if they can talk about adobo, I am sure they can talk about other Filipino cuisine. And even my wife, who is from the Netherlands, Holland, for those who are older, she enjoys certain Filipino foods. So we've got something good here. We just have to believe in our own and promote our own. Okay, let's now go to our blessing for the week. It's from Isaiah chapter 43, verse 2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. And that's today's agenda. Thank you for joining us this week. We hope to have more interesting topics in guests next week and the coming weeks, God willing. And please include us in your prayer. Have a great weekend. Let's all give ourselves a break. Thank you.